First Contact Protocol. The void between stars was never truly empty. Captain Ilara Vance knew this better than most as she stood on the bridge of the ESS Phantom, humanity's most advanced stealth vessel. The ship's quantum displacement drive hummed beneath her feet, a barely perceptible vibration that reminded her they were traveling where no human ship was permitted. "Status report," she said, voice cutting through the tense silence of the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Kai Nakamura looked up from his console, dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of holographic displays. "Stealth systems nominal, Captain. We're ghosting through their detection grid like we don't exist. And that's exactly how I want to keep it," Ilara replied, moving to the central tactical display. The hologram showed their position relative to the Galactic Concordat's territorial boundary, a boundary they had crossed 12 hours ago. The Galactic Concordat, a coalition of 7 advanced species that had been the dominant force in this sector for millennia. They'd encountered humanity 80 years ago, and after a brief, brutal conflict, established the Treaty of Proxima, restricting human expansion to just 12 star systems. A treaty signed not out of respect, but fear. Humanity had fought with a ferocity that shocked the Concordat, who had never encountered a species so determined to survive against overwhelming odds. Now the Phantom floated in restricted space, invisible to Concordat sensors. This mission wasn't sanctioned by Earth Command, at least not officially, but the disappearance of 3 human colony ships in neutral space demanded investigation. "Captain," called Communications Officer Maya Chen, her hand pressed to her earpiece, "I'm picking up encrypted transmissions. Heavy comms traffic for what's supposed to be empty space." Ilara frowned. "Origin." "There," Chen said, marking a point on the tactical display. "Appears to be a station or facility orbiting the 3rd moon of that gas giant." "Magnify," Ilara ordered. The display zoomed in, revealing a structure unlike typical Concordat architecture. Angular and utilitarian, it hung in orbit like a dark spider, with occasional pulses of energy rippling across its surface. "That's not on any of our charts," Kai noted, his fingers dancing across his console. "And it's not broadcasting any identification signals either. Curious for a species that documents everything," Ilara mused. "Let's take a closer look." "Tactical, passive scans only." Lieutenant Sanvi Patil nodded at her station. "Initiating scan. This might take longer without active sensors." Ilara studied the facility with a growing sense of unease. The Concordat was methodical, bureaucratic. Everything they did was documented and regulated. A hidden facility meant something they didn't want found, something worth risking detection for. "Captain," Sanvi's voice wavered slightly, "I'm detecting human biosignatures on that station." The bridge went silent. Ilara's jaw tightened. "Confirm." "Confirmed. At least 40 distinct human life signs. Their readings suggest." Sanvi hesitated. "Medical distress. The colony ships," Kai whispered. Ilara's mind raced through protocols and regulations, all the rules that said they should retreat, report back, let diplomacy handle this. But diplomacy had failed these people already. "Prep a detailed scan. I want to know everything about that facility. Defense systems, internal layout, personnel, everything." As the crew carried out her orders, the tactical display updated with more information. The facility wasn't just a research station, it was a laboratory. And humans weren't the only test subjects. "They're experimenting on multiple species," Sanvi reported, disgust evident in her voice. "But there's a disproportionate focus on humans. They've isolated them in a dedicated wing." "What are they looking for?" Ilara wondered aloud. "Whatever it is, they're willing to violate the treaty to get it," Kai answered grimly. Ilara was about to order a closer approach when alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. Red warning lights bathed the crew in an ominous glow. "We're being scanned," Sanvi shouted. "High-energy quantum resonance. It's cutting right through our stealth field." "Evasive maneuvers," Ilara commanded. "Drop us into the moon's shadow." The Phantom banked sharply, its engines pulsing as it accelerated toward the cover of the nearby moon. But it was too late. Multiple vessels emerging from behind the facility, Kai reported. Concordat warships, arbitrator class. The tactical display updated to show 5 massive vessels moving into formation. Each one dwarfed the Phantom by at least 6 times. They've identified us, Maya confirmed, listening to the now frantic communications. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, demanding immediate surrender. Ilara's mind calculated options, risks, outcomes. The Phantom could run, with its quantum drive. It could outpace the Concordat vessels. But that would mean abandoning those humans on the station. Open a channel, she decided. Let's see what happens when we talk back. Maya looked up, startled. Captain, first contact protocol states. Those protocols went out the airlock when they took our people. Ilara interrupted. Open the channel. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a Concordat commander. The alien's elongated face was covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with emotion, currently a dangerous swirl of orange and red. 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, narrowed at the sight of Ilara. Human vessel, the alien spoke, translator converting its harmonic speech into English. You have violated sovereign Concordat space. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding. Resistance will result in immediate destruction. Ilara stepped forward, shoulders squared. I am Captain Ilara Vance of the Earth spaceship Phantom. We detected distress signals from this region and investigated accordingly. A lie, but a necessary one. We have detected no distress signals. The alien responded. Your presence is unauthorized and hostile. As unauthorized and hostile as your experimentation on human civilians. Ilara countered. Our scans show 43 humans being held on that facility, in violation of the Treaty of Proxima. The alien's scales flashed violet momentarily. Surprise. Your accusations are baseless. The facility you reference is a standard research outpost. Then you won't mind if we inspect it, Ilara pressed. After all, transparency was a cornerstone of our treaty. The alien commander's scales darkened. You are not in a position to make demands, Captain Vance. Your single vessel is outnumbered and outgunned. Power down and prepare for boarding or be destroyed. Ilara smiled, a cold, calculated expression. Before you make threats, Commander, perhaps you should check your long-range sensors. The Phantom never travels alone. It was another bluff. The Phantom was indeed alone, deep in Concordat space. But uncertainty was a powerful weapon. The commander barked orders in its native tongue, and Ilara could see secondary displays lighting up as they scanned the surrounding space. No additional vessels detected, the alien finally stated, though there was a flicker of doubt in its posture. Of course not, Ilara replied. That's why they call us Phantoms. Behind her, Kai was frantically working his console, implementing a plan they had discussed, but never expected to use. The Phantom's quantum displacement drive could create echo signatures, false readings that would confuse Concordat sensors. On the Concordat ships, alarms would be sounding as ghostly signatures appeared and disappeared on their screens, Phantom vessels closing in from multiple vectors. I'll make this simple, Ilara continued. Release the humans you're holding, and we'll leave peacefully. Continue this standoff, and you'll discover why the Concordat signed a treaty with us in the first place. The alien commander's scales rippled with conflicting colors. Anger, uncertainty, fear. You have been identified as ESS Phantom, Captain Ilara Vance commanding. This information has been transmitted to Concordat High Command. They are dispatching additional forces to this location. Ilara nodded, unfazed. Then we don't have much time. I'll give you 1 hour to release our people. After that, we do this the hard way. There will be consequences for this incursion, human, the commander hissed. There already are, Ilara replied evenly. You just haven't felt them yet. The communication ended, and Ilara turned to her crew. Their faces showed a mixture of determination and fear. They knew what they had just done. Kai, how long can we maintain those echo signatures? 2 hours, maybe 3 before they realize it's a trick, he answered. Maya, send an encrypted burst transmission to Earth Command. Let them know we found the missing colonists and our position. That'll give away our location to any Concordat listening posts, Maya warned. They already know where we are, Ilara said. What matters now is making them believe we're not alone. Sanvi cleared her throat. Captain, I've completed the detailed scan. The facility. It's worse than we thought. They're not just experimenting on our people. They're harvesting from them. Harvesting what? Ilara asked, dread pooling in her stomach. Genetic material, primarily. But also neural tissue, bone marrow, stem cells. Sanvi's voice shook slightly. They're specifically targeting certain genetic markers that appear unique to humans. Ilara's expression hardened. They're looking for something in our DNA, something they can't synthesize themselves. Whatever it is, Kai said, they're willing to risk war to get it. Ilara moved to the tactical station, studying the layout of the facility. Then we'll give them a war. Plot an approach vector to that station. We're going to show the Concordat exactly why they fear humans in the first place. As the Phantom began its calculated approach, the Concordat vessels moved to intercept. On their command decks, the alien known as Arkshan Tezkrol watched with growing unease as the small human vessel advanced without hesitation. Tezkrol had studied the human Concordat war extensively. Humans were supposed to be contained, controlled, not here, not challenging the might of the Concordat with a single ship. It defied logic, which meant they knew something he didn't. And in the cold void of space, that uncertainty was the most terrifying weapon of all. The reckoning. Arkshan Tezkrol paced the command deck of his flagship, scales flickering between deep blue anxiety and crimson rage. The human vessel hadn't retreated. Instead, it maintained position just outside weapons range of the research facility, its presence a silent accusation. Has High Command responded? He demanded. His second, Sub-Arkshan Vila, bobbed her head in deference. They acknowledge receipt of our alert, Arkshan. Reinforcements are en route from Sector 7. Estimated arrival, 2 hours. And the facility. Director Mazrek refuses evacuation. Claims the research is too valuable to abandon. Tezkrol hissed in frustration. The director was a scientist, not a strategist. He didn't understand what they were facing. The human captain, Tezkrol said quietly. I've reviewed her file. Ilara Vance. During the border skirmish at Ta City, she commanded a corvette against 3 of our cruisers. A futile engagement, Vila commented. She destroyed 2 before withdrawing. Tezkrol corrected. No Concordat commander has ever achieved such a victory ratio against superior forces. The bridge fell silent. The implications were clear. They weren't facing just any human. They were facing one of their champions. Send another communication to the facility, Tezkrol ordered. Tell Mazrek to prepare the human subjects for transfer. We will use them as leverage. Aboard the Phantom, Ilara watched the clock counting down. 43 minutes remained in her ultimatum. Any response? She asked. Maya shook her head. Nothing official, but there's been increased shuttle activity between the lead warship and the facility. They're stalling, Kai suggested, waiting for reinforcements. Then we don't give them time to prepare, Ilara decided. Sanvi, what's the status of our tactical package? Lieutenant Patel smiled for the first time since they'd entered Concordat space. Deployment ready, Captain. The targeting solution is locked. Execute. Beneath the Phantom's hull, specialized compartments opened. Dozens of small objects, each no larger than a human fist, silently propelled themselves toward the Concordat vessels and the research facility. These were Weka SPR mines, weaponized high-intensity stealth propulsion energy resonators, humanity's answer to the Concordat's superior shipbuilding technology. Countdown to activation. 3 minutes, Sanvi reported. Ilara nodded and turned to her first officer. Kai, ready Phase 2. Once those WHISPERs activate, we'll have a narrow window. Phase 2 prepped. Assault team standing by in the launch bay. On the tactical display, the tiny dots representing the WHISPER mines approached their targets undetected. Concordat vessels had formidable defenses, but they were designed to counter conventional attacks. Energy weapons, kinetic projectiles, even radiation. The WHISPERs were something else entirely. 1 minute to activation, Sandy announced. Ilara opened a channel to the assault team. Commander Rivera, prepare your team for immediate launch. Your primary objective is extraction of all human prisoners. Secondary objective is data retrieval from their research core. Understood, Captain, came the crisp reply. My team is ready to remind the Concordat why they fear us. Maya suddenly straightened at her station. Captain, incoming transmission from the Concordat flagship. Put it through. Archon Tezkrol appeared on screen, his scales now a steady, determined black. Captain Vance, I have conferred with my superiors. The Concordat will not be pressured by human threats. You have 20 minutes to withdraw from our territory, or we will open fire. Ilara's expression remained neutral. You misunderstand the situation, Archon. I wasn't making a threat. I was giving you an opportunity to avoid what happens next. Before Tezkrol could respond, Sondley called out, WHISPER is active. Across space, the tiny devices simultaneously activated. Each WHISPER mine generated a localized quantum field that disrupted the molecular cohesion of any alloy within its radius, specifically calibrated to target the unique metallurgical composition of Concordat hull plating. The devices began their work. On the view screen, Tezkrol's composed demeanor shattered as alerts blared behind him. His scales flashed white with shock. What have you done? He demanded. I've changed the rules, Ilara replied calmly. Your weapon systems are now offline. Your engines are compromised. And your communications array is about to fail. As if on cue, the transmission flickered and distorted. You have one more chance, Archon, Ilara continued. Release our people, or I will take them. The communication dissolved into static. Ilara turned to her crew, who watched her with a mixture of awe and apprehension. Launch the assault team, she ordered, and bring us about to provide covering fire if needed. The Phantom's launch bay opened, and 3 sleek shuttles emerged, rocketing toward the research facility. Unlike the Phantom, these weren't designed for stealth. They were built for speed and combat. On the Concordat flagship, chaos reigned. Systems failed in cascading succession as the quantum disruption spread through critical components. Tezkrol watched helplessly as the human shuttle streaked toward the facility, unopposed. Get me emergency power to weapons, he shouted. Impossible, Archon, Vila responded. The disruption is molecular. The targeting systems are physically degrading. Tezkrol's mind raced. The humans had anticipated everything, planned for this confrontation with meticulous detail. How? Unless. They knew, he realized. They knew about the facility before they arrived. This isn't a chance encounter, it's a rescue operation. The research facility's defenses proved equally vulnerable to the WHISPER technology. Commander Javier Rivera led his 12-person assault team through the main airlock, encountering minimal resistance. The facility's security forces were disorganized, their weapons malfunctioning. Team 1, secure the prisoner section, Rivera ordered through his tactical helmet. Team 2, with me to the research core. They moved with practiced efficiency, neutralizing resistance without fatalities when possible. These weren't soldiers of vengeance. They were professionals with clear objectives. Team 1, led by Lieutenant Sarah Hassan, reached the prisoner section first. What they found stopped them cold. The cells were more like medical pods, each containing a human in various states of consciousness. Tubes and sensors connected their bodies to machinery that hummed with ominous purpose. Central, we've located the prisoners. Hassan reported. But extraction is complicated. They're connected to some kind of medical apparatus. Rivera's voice came back immediately. Hold position. We're accessing the facility's systems now. We'll find a safe disconnection protocol. Team 2 had reached the research core, a circular chamber dominated by a massive quantum computer. Rivera stationed his team at the entrances while their tech specialist, Dr. Amara Okafor, interfaced with the alien system. I need time, she told Rivera. Their encryption is complex. Time is something we don't have, he replied, checking his chronometer. 5 minutes, then we go with Plan B. On the Phantom's bridge, Ilara received continuous updates from both teams. The operation was proceeding, but complications mounted. The Concordat ships are attempting to restore their systems, Kai reported. They're adapting faster than expected. And reinforcements? Ilara asked. Still incoming. Estimated arrival in 67 minutes. Ilara studied the tactical display. Keep our position between the facility and the flagship. If they get weapons back online, I want them to think twice about firing with their own people in the crossfire. In the research core, Dr. Okafor finally broke through the encryption. I'm in, she announced, her fingers dancing across her portable interface. Downloading research data now. Rivera looked over her shoulder at the stream of information. What were they doing to our people? Okafor's expression darkened as she scanned the data. They'd been studying human cellular regeneration, specifically our telomere reconstruction process. In basic English, Doctor, they're studying why humans live so long, she explained. The Concordat species all have natural lifespans of 30 to 40 Earth years. We live more than twice that. They've been trying to isolate the genetic components responsible. Rivera's jaw tightened. They've been torturing our people to extend their own lives. Not just that, Okafor continued, her voice catching. The research indicates they've been trying to weaponize it too. Imagine soldiers who could regenerate from wounds almost instantly. Download everything, Rivera ordered. Then wipe their systems. In the prisoner section, Hassan received the disconnection protocol from Okafor. One by one, her team carefully removed humans from the medical pods. Many were weak, disoriented, but alive. We've got 41 survivors ready for transport, Hassan reported. 2 critical, need immediate medical attention. What about the remaining 2? Rivera asked. Hassan's voice wavered. Confirmed deceased. Recent, within the last 24 hours. On the bridge of the Phantom, Ilara felt each death like a physical blow. Those people had been under her protection. All humans were. And she had failed them. Captain, Maya called urgently. The Concordat flagship is bringing weapons back online. Extraction teams, accelerate your timeline, Ilara ordered. We're about to have company. The first energy blast from the Concordat vessel struck the Phantom's shields, which flared bright blue under the impact. Shields holding at 86%, Sanvi reported. But they won't survive sustained fire. Ilara made a swift decision. Target their weapons array. Precision strike only. I don't want to destroy the ship. The Phantom's main cannons fired, lancing out with surgical precision. The energy beams struck the Concordat flagship exactly where its primary weapons cluster was located, shearing away the external hardware. Direct hit, Kai confirmed. Their main weapons are offline. Captain, Maya interrupted, incoming transmission from the facility. The view screen activated to show a different Concordat alien, older, with scales of deep purple and ceremonial markings across its face. I am Director Mazrek, the alien announced. You are stealing vital research that belongs to the Concordat. I'm retrieving people who belong to Earth, Ilara countered. People you kidnapped and experimented on. Mazrek's scales rippled dismissively. Subjects acquired through legal salvage operations. Their colony ships violated our space. Those ships were in neutral territory, Ilara challenged. A navigation error on our part, Mazrek admitted without remorse. But the research potential was too significant to ignore. Your species' cellular regeneration capabilities are unique in the known galaxy. Ilara leaned forward. Then you should have proposed a research partnership instead of kidnapping and torture. The Concordat does not partner with lesser species. Mazrek sneered. You humans are resources, not equals. Commander Rivera, Ilara said into her comm without breaking eye contact with Mazrek. Status update. All survivors secured, Captain. Data retrieved. Preparing for extraction. Ilara nodded, then addressed Mazrek again. It seems our business here is concluded, Director. But know this. The next time the Concordat violates our treaty, we won't be so merciful. You speak of mercy while committing acts of war, Mazrek hissed. The Concordat will respond in kind. No, Ilara said firmly. You won't. Because once Earth Command reviews the data we've recovered from your facility, every species in the sector will know what you've been doing. How many allies do you think you'll have then? Before Mazrek could respond, Rivera's voice came through again. Captain, we've encountered a problem. Director Mazrek has initiated a facility self-destruct sequence. 5 minutes to detonation. Mazrek's scales glittered with satisfaction. If I cannot have the research, neither will you. Get your teams out of there. Commander, Ilara ordered. We're done here. As the assault shuttles detached from the facility, the Phantom moved to intercept them, creating a protective barrier between the shuttles and the Concordat vessels. On the Concordat flagship, Archon Tez Krull watched the human ship maneuver with impossible precision. His weapons were crippled, his reinforcements still too far away. And now, the research facility, with all its valuable data, was about to destroy itself. Archon, Vila said quietly. Director Mazrek is still aboard the facility. Tez Krull didn't respond. Perhaps it was fitting that the director would die with his abominations. The Concordat valued progress above all else, but there were lines that shouldn't be crossed, not because of morality, but because of the consequences. The assault shuttles docked with the Phantom just as the first explosions rippled through the research facility. The structure broke apart in a series of calculated detonations, leaving nothing but debris where unethical science had once flourished. All teams accounted for, Kai reported. 41 survivors recovered. Medical teams are treating them now, Sanvi added. Most will recover fully. Ilara nodded solemnly. Set course for the treaty boundary. Maximum speed. What about the Concordat ships? Maya asked. They won't follow, Ilara said with certainty. Not today. As if confirming her assessment, the Concordat vessels remained in position, watching as the Phantom accelerated away. On the flagship, Tez Krull had already begun composing his report to High Command, a report that would carefully omit certain details about the research facility and emphasize the overwhelming tactical superiority the humans had demonstrated with minimal forces. Some truths were too dangerous to share, even among the Concordat. The truth that humans, despite their short history among the stars, had weapons that could neutralize Concordat technology with frightening ease. The truth that a single human ship had outmaneuvered and outfought 5 Concordat vessels. But most dangerous of all was the truth Tez Krull had recognized in Captain Vance's eyes. Humans would cross any boundary, challenge any force, to protect their own. It wasn't just determination. It was something the Concordat, for all its advanced evolution, had lost millennia ago. Humans still knew how to fight for something beyond survival. They fought for each other. As the Phantom disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Ilara visited the medical bay. The recovered colonists were being treated, their ordeal finally over. Some looked up as she entered, recognition dawning on their faces. You came for us, one woman said, her voice weak but filled with wonder. Even when nobody knew where we were. Ilara took the woman's hand gently. We'll always come, no matter how far, no matter how dangerous. Humanity leaves no one behind. In that moment, surrounded by the rescued and the healers, Ilara understood what the Concordat truly feared about humans. Not their weapons or their tactics or even their determination. They feared the human capacity for connection, the invisible threads that bound one human to another across the void. The Concordat, with all its cold calculation and logical progression, could never understand the power of that bond. And what couldn't be understood would always be feared. 2 weeks later, the Phantom docked at Earth Command Headquarters orbiting Mars. The survivors had been returned to their families, the data secured by intelligence divisions. Ilara stood before the High Admiral, her report complete. "The diplomatic fallout has been significant," the Admiral told her. "But the Concordat isn't pressing charges of treaty violation. Because they don't want their research exposed," Ilara surmised. "Precisely. Instead, they proposed amendments to the Treaty of Proxima, including formal research partnerships with human medical institutions." Ilara raised an eyebrow. "They're asking permission for what they tried to take by force." "Progress comes in many forms, Captain," the Admiral said with a slight smile. "Sometimes it requires a reminder of consequences." He handed her a datapad. "Your new orders. The Phantom is being redeployed to patrol the expanded neutral zone established by the treaty amendments." Ilara reviewed the orders quickly. "We're being sent back to the same sector." "The Concordat requested you specifically," the Admiral revealed. "Apparently, Arkshan Tezcrawl has developed a healthy respect for your capabilities." As Ilara left the Admiral's office, she reflected on the mission and its aftermath. The Concordat had learned something about humanity. That compassion wasn't weakness, that connection wasn't vulnerability, that humans would risk everything for principles others dismissed as sentiment. And perhaps in time, they would learn what humanity had known all along, that the greatest strength in the universe wasn't found in dominance or control, but in the whispers of a shared humanity that echoed across the stars. The void remembered, and so would they.